monopoly carrier is regulated. There's a huge federal law out there. They are called a common carrier. And you may have heard there was a recent court ruling against net neutrality. Did you guys hear that one? The FCC had passed a rule that said on the internet that an internet company has to give equal service or equal service to any traffic. And the courts struck it down because internet companies aren't considered common carriers. That's kind of a spooky thought, isn't it? So a common carrier has to provide universal access, and they have to do what's called non-discrimination. That is, I don't know. So universal access means they have to serve everyone, so even poor people. You have to put rural people too. Why do we not like rural people in telecom? Yeah, you got to run that wire a long ways. So there's actually a whole bunch of subsidies out there to do the poor people. And non-discrimination is just all traffic treated equal. So you can't give priority or premier service to one company over another. They have to publish, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff too. Okay? So they get a monopoly, and in exchange they have to provide access to everybody, and they have to support all traffic well. Okay? And that's the state we're in right now. And so most agreements is, I don't know, this way. And I'll put here even cable TV. Okay? So you think about cable TV, like Cox comes to Norfolk and they say, we want to provide cable TV access. The city of Norfolk says, look, you need to provide access to cable TV to 90-some% of the neighborhoods in Norfolk. And they actually don't usually do this one, but usually that means the cable TV company pays them a bunch of money. But that's a different issue. But usually universal access is the big thing. All right? Now, in phone companies, the phone incumbent is called the incumbent local exchange carrier. Okay? And you better believe there is an acronym for this. So the ILEC is the incumbent local exchange carrier. These are the people that are given the monopoly. There's also a competitive local exchange carrier is called a CLEC. Okay? So in Norfolk, we would have our incumbent local exchange carrier is Verizon. So they're given the option to provide, they get the right of way and everything to put in their phone lines. A competitive local exchange carrier right now is Cox. So Cox is allowed to provide phone service. And there's rules about the incumbent has to provide, remember the non-discrimination? This gets crazy. They have to provide Cox with access. So Cox comes to Verizon and says, look, we need our phone customers to be able to call your phone customers. Verizon has to do it. Okay? It's just those kind of rules. Are we good with this stuff? So there's the incumbent, the competitor, and there's agreements here. We'll just put agreements. Those are by law, okay, of what competitors have to do with incumbents. Oof. It's going to get crazier. Most ILECs are what they call baby bells. Okay, so Verizon dates from the very old days when there was the Ma Bell You guys know what Bell is? That's our Alexander Graham Bell, right? So they're baby bells. These are called a regional bell operating. I hate to give you all this stuff, but it's out there. These are called RBOCs. Okay? So a regional bell operating company is normally the incumbent local exchange carrier. This is acronym city. Right? Lots of laws going around. So we're worried right now. Remember I just told you that the data service was not considered a common carrier? As soon as the FCC declares it a common carrier, then we're going to have incumbents and competitors and all sorts of wackiness. Okay? It gets to be more. Let me just tell you a couple more. So in phone service, so this might be in Norfolk. So we're the 757, right? We have an ILEC and we have a CLEC, right? So we have our Verizon and Cox. It's a different company that provides the service. I guess we've been going to Richmond. Richmond has its own incumbent. It might also be Verizon. They have their own competitor too. I don't know if it's Cox there or if they have other companies too. Okay? So these are local exchanges. Local exchange. In between.
Verizon, it's the same here. It's Verizon. I figure Comcast is also competing here.
Okay, Comcast. There you go. So Comcast would be a competitor. All right. Between the two is called an inter-exchange carrier. And these used to be what was called the long-distance companies. And so they would sell, you guys don't even remember this stuff. You get a phone call every once in a while. Are you satisfied with your long-distance company? So that's an inter-exchange carrier. So that takes us out. Now here's our crazy part. This is partly topology, right? Inside Norfolk, there's a special place. This is where all the wires meet. Okay? This is called the point of presence. And it's called the POP. Okay? So this is the POP. And the POP in Norfolk is downtown. It's the AT&T building. So that's kind of funny, right? Our local exchange carrier is Verizon. Our incumbent, our competitor is Cox. I don't know who our inter-exchange is Verizon too, but our point of presence is in the AT&T building. It's a big white building, and that's where all the cables meet. Now this is the kind of building that you don't want taken out in a war or whatever. So there's places like in California, they've tried to kind of black it off of like Google Maps and not tell anybody where it is, even though the way you tell what it is it's this big, almost windowless building. So that's the point of presence, and that's kind of a big deal too, right? So where are we at? Oh, we're not yet. So let's say, where are we? Let's say we need to get out of the country. There's also going to be a connection that goes over the ocean. So there's fiber running over the ocean, right? Over the ocean, these are international common carrier. I'll use this one. Okay. Oops, national. And we understand probably, right? If we're going to lay a cable over the ocean, we have to kind of, at least getting out of U.S. sea space, what do they call that? And then into the ocean, and then back into some other country, you have to agree by tariff or by treaty. And it's the same rules apply. You can't just go lay in cable places. You got to make agreements. That one's fun, international common carrier. So here's where it gets way wacky. So if you're a multinational company, and you want to connect all your different branch offices, you got to make a lot of connections between different places. This is fun times, huh?